Hey guys, good to have you with me. I am currently leaving Santa Cruz, heading out towards my piece of land, and just wanted to take you along for the ride here for a short period of time. Sorry about the camera shake there. Kind of is what it is. So here we go. We're going to go out and get going on digging the holes today. I want to share with you just a couple of real quick things on the road here while we're traveling. And specifically, it's going to be a little bit about concrete. I figured now's a good time to probably give you a little bit of a history about concrete. Now, every building project you ever undertake starts from the ground. It always does. It all springs out of the ground. And even a treehouse, for that matter, because there are some little supports that you're going to have to put down, whether it be just the stairs itself that get you up to it. They have to be connected to the earth at some point, because you could have your tree house completely suspended 100% from all the trees at every single point, but you still have to get up into it. Or in my case, I'm going to be anchoring the main structure to the ground up on high beams, and then the structure that I'm going to build above that is going to be integrated into the trees, so that it gives you that feel that you're right up into the trees. So anyway, when we start in the ground with concrete, it's important to recognize the reasons why we have to use concrete. I mean, it goes without saying for anyone in the construction industry, but for the average layman, they maybe don't really understand what's the necessity of using it. I mean, you could just take a big giant wood beam and just stick it into the ground, and that for some people may be good enough. But it's actually not, for several reasons. Wood and subterranean dirt are very bad combination, because it holds moisture into that wood and it'll rot out, the bugs will eat it, and next thing you know, your entire structure is going to fall over. So we have this beautiful material called concrete. And now concrete was basically used forever ago. I think I read somewhere about 6500 BC, the Chinese or Egyptians messed around with some mortars. They basically mixed clay and straw, and they came up with a strengthening agent that they then used that to stack bricks and make structures from it. Now, the Romans are the ones who jumped into the mix here, and they pretty much perfected it, at least for their day. They found a way to combine lime and some other ingredients to it, and obviously what we have from that is all of those cool structures in Rome. They're still around after thousands of years. The Pantheon's one. I've been to it. It's actually pretty cool. It's this big, giant concrete dome with a hole right at the very, very top. And I think I read somewhere that it is maybe the largest concrete structure that's in a dome shape. Don't quote me on that, but I think I read that somewhere. So it's of some interest to understand its utility there. But for our purposes today, actually, after the Romans were done, for about 1,000 years, concrete was not used at all. Kind of like a dark ages of concrete, if you will. And all of a sudden, back in the 17th century, they started, messing around with it again, and they came up with all of these different components to concrete. Now, in the 1800s, Portland cement was basically invented, and I couldn't remember the entire processes, but basically somebody burned off some organic materials, and when the carbon dioxide was burned out of it, they came up with Portland cement, and that's the main bonding agent that causes that concrete to solidify and harden. Why is this important? Well, I'll tell you why it's important. Because when you dig down into the earth, you're required then to pour concrete and reinforce that concrete with steel rods today, so that basically the steel rods are like the bones of the concrete. And when you pour that wet concrete into that hole with the steel rods sticking into it, when it all solidifies, it becomes a very, very durable, very, very hard connection to the earth. On my project, there's 9 locations where I've got these concrete pads, and I'm going to have 8-inch by 8-inch beams sitting on top of these pads. So the concrete, critically important here. Reinforcing it with the steel rods, equally important. And as we move forward with this project, you're going to see that foundation is absolutely critical. Down here in Costa Rica, they do have earthquakes. And since that is the case, there is going to be some shaking in the ground that's possible. And so you want to make sure that your connections to the ground are durable and long lasting. So that's a little primer on concrete. Hopefully that gives you a little bit of insights about what it's all about. And stick with me and we'll see the process move forward. Take care, guys. Bye. Okay, friends, here we are. As I've mentioned to you earlier, when you get into digging into the ground, there's a couple of things that are very important. One of the things the plan calls out for is digging down about 3 feet, roughly about that deep, directly in this location here. The reason that's important is that when we get down that deep, we have to be able to see if the structure and the ground underneath there is pretty strong and compacted. You can imagine over time that just this land has had a lot of moisture, and a lot of settling going on over the ages of time, and it's settled quite deep. So once you get down about 3 feet, you're very compacted. At that point, they call for some ballast to be put in. I believe it's about probably a foot worth of ballast. Basically, all that is like a sand and rock combination that compacts to about 90%. And on the top of that is where the concrete gets poured. So again, this is a corner post right here. As we dig down around that area there, we're also going to put those steel reinforcing rods I talked about in this location and get it prepped out for concrete to be poured. So this is one of 9 posts that is going to be dug. We're going to get into that, but we want to do some final checking on our measurement and make sure that we're all square. Okay, so this was that location I talked about the other day that I'm a little bit concerned with. As you can tell, this tree has a very unique kind of foundational system that goes into the ground here. This actual structure here goes down, and it appears that this root actually runs this direction. One of the concerns I have is that one of my posts has to go right there. And as I stick that shovel into the ground, it goes about that far in, and we are against something hard. I suspect, obviously, it is that root. And what concerns me is the location of everything is exactly where I want it to be for other considerations, considering where all the trees go up and how it kind of gets set inside of here and framed with some of those perimeter trees going through the deck. This is the closest layout I can come to. This is the biggest concern, because if I have to cut that root out, my worry is I just don't want to weaken this tree too much. Now, obviously, this tree is very large. I'm sure the root structure goes in multiple different directions. But anyway, it's a concern. We'll get into this. I think that more than likely we'll get an idea of what's going on here fairly soon when we start digging around it. I think I'm going to be pulling in a couple of laborers. I'm going to look and see if I can find somebody that's willing to work. This digging is, I'm getting older and digging is not so much fun anymore. So we'll look to do that, but we'll find out what's going on here and we'll show you when we find it. Okay, sometimes you have to adapt, and this may be one of those points in time. This was my corner post location here. But I've also recognized that there is, I don't know if you can see this here, but there's a root here that runs in this direction that may really be an issue here. So I am considering here trying to put this post in between these 2 roots here. And I'm doing some little test digging here just to kind of see what the structure is like. Now, it's been raining like crazy out here, so this ground is fairly muddy. Matter of fact, it's raining so seriously that I've got multiple mosquito bites on me already. I think my choice of uniform here is going to kind of be a little suspect. There's a lot of these fibrous root structures that are woven throughout the ground here. They're kind of everywhere, but there again, hey, we're in the jungle, so what do you expect? But anyway, I think it's going to be worthwhile to get a pickaxe, because we're probably going to need work at getting through some of this structure here. You know, as I get down through here, I'm already running into another root right there. That one doesn't look too big, so I think we can work around that. But I think it's worth you know, digging out this test hole here just to kind of see. Again, the ground is so soft. It's kind of a blessing in disguise because I'm able to really dig down quite easily. So we'll just kind of keep investigating here, see what we come up with. This could be a very good location, and I've realized if I move the entire structure over about 3 feet, I'll still get what I'm trying to get out of some of the trees here. I'll still be able to work through some of the layout amenities that I kind of wanted to get out of it. So anyway, we'll investigate this further, we'll see what comes of it, and we'll let you know. Okay, since we're moving all over this direction, I had, as I said before, that concern with this route going this way. So I've just measured roughly where the location of this post would be as we move it over, and it's going to be roughly here. So I'm going to do another quick little test dig. And again, the ground here is just outrageously muddy. It must have rained like bananas here last night. When I was in Santa Cruz, which is about 40 minutes that way, it did wake me up in the middle of the night. It was raining very, very hard. So, you know, that's why this ground, again, dual-edged sword here, good blessing in a sense I'm able to really dig in quite easily. Problem with it is, it's messing with my chucks. They're already pretty dirty. So anyway, it looks like this really may be a good adjustment here. As I dig through this, you can kind of see that I'm not running into any root structures here. There is this root right here, but it's pretty much on the surface. And I think this is going to be a good adjustment here. So whenever you do projects like this, sometimes you have to be a little bit, you know, you have to be a little bit flexible. And fortunately, flexible here in Costa Rica is probably a lot easier to do than in America, in the United States. You know, some things can get pretty crazy with setbacks. You know, you have to be this far away from this and this far away from that. I mean, as you can tell, the property line back here is maybe about 8 feet away. So we really didn't run any kind of issues with that here. So we have some latitude here, and it's really helpful in this case. And as I said, this doesn't affect anything with the overall layout. So I'm happy. I think this adjustment's going to be necessary. Yeah, we'll go forward from here, guys. Okay, as you see from here, this was the original corner, but again, that adjustment's going to get us kind of right out into here, which doesn't present any kind of a problem as it relates to any roots or anything. But my other post here could potentially run into some problems. Now that's just a loose root on the ground there, but this could run into some problems as we move it over into here. So it is going to be worthwhile to do a little dig right here just to see what we're running into. So again, this is going to be about the location, and as soon as I get into that ground there, I'm into something fairly hard. Matter of fact, this may be this little root piece here. Yes, it is actually, and I think that's more on the surface. So we may be lucky enough to kind of chop that off. Yeah, we got that chopped through. So that edge is basically chopped away. We'll get underneath it here, see if we can't find the other edge. Looks like it might be way out here. There we go. We got that kind of pulled out of the way there. So again, maybe we'll get lucky. That may be the only surface root structure that we have to worry about. But we're right about in here. We're going to have to start digging. And already I'm into something, you know, fairly substantial down there. So could be some rocks. You know, it could be something a little bit more organic, like more root structure. So yeah, this could be a slight bit challenging. Now, one of the things about this that's going to be interesting is, as I mentioned before, you know, we're going to move over probably about right here. Now, remember, we've got a post going right here. Okay, a beam, I should say. Now remember, we've got these trees that we're working with, but as these trees kind of lean a little bit out through here, we think with that movement, you know, we're coming out here, we should be able to keep this where it needs to be and integrate everything into it. That is the challenge at this particular point here. Now, if this particular tree branch or limb, if you will, has to be removed, well, then we'll have to do it. And that's the compromise. Sometimes it's necessary. So you have to look at these things and kind of, before you really get too deeply into them, you have to make sure that all these things come into consideration. Okay, as I said to you, it rained pretty crazy out here last night, and what I'm realizing is that it is just incredibly muddy. And as you can see, I'm already, you know, very short order. I've got a lot of mud all over the place. So it looks like today may be a wash as far as really getting too much done. I appreciate the fact the ground is soft. I mean, you can't do more than have that preparation done, but I know the forecast here during their rainy season is for more rain all week. So that presents to us some challenges. I am going to secure a couple of people to come out and get these holes dug, and we'll just get that taken care of while the ground is still soft and moist, and then we'll just have to look for that opportunity when we can pour our concrete and get that preparation done. So between now and then, I think what we'll do is we'll have a little diversion today. I'm gonna head over and show you a creative way I'm gonna clean everything up before I put it in my rental car. So stick with me. Okay, friends, as I said, I'm really muddy. I got a lot of mud on my chucks, got a lot of mud on my shovel. I am going to do the poor man's way of cleaning everything up. Now, I do not have any water on my property yet, so here's my water. So, yeah, water here's nice. No worries as far as that's concerned. Water just, it's just beautiful here. Mostly year round, you're going to find that there's no real big issues here as far as the water is concerned. You can kind of come here pretty much any time and enjoy yourself and enjoy the fact that you can pretty much swim here just in your swim trunks and be comfortable. So anyway, it's worth considering that when you come here and visit. Again, this particular beach is literally like a 5-minute walk, and it is less than a 1-minute drive. So one of those nice little perks for being where I'm at. So yeah, stick with me. We'll keep going with this project, and you'll see how it progresses. Okay, I'm at the beach here at Playa Junquial. This is probably one of the most rustic beaches around. Very, very rough, very, very raw, very, very natural. You'll notice the beach is fairly wide. It is a darker sand beach. It's tending more towards black. You'll notice that it's just kind of wide open space here. You can come down here and hang out and be with your family literally by yourself all day long. There's lots of tide pools out here to enjoy for the kids to really have a good time. There's a couple of pretty epic surf spots around here as well. Now, I've not yet seen the type of swell that'll make them come alive, but I have seen a few days when there were some really nice waves coming through, and I think it's kind of a little known secret. I'm not going to divulge it completely as to where I'm at, but during the right type of swell and the right type of tide, this place has some pretty significant waves that come through here. So again, it's one of those places for certain. You're going to come down here and you may see one or two other people all day long. Yeah, so a little cloudy day today, but it's still just natural, raw beauty everywhere. This again is the closest beach to my treehouse. It is literally 2/10 of a mile away. So come on down, enjoy, follow me. You'll see our adventure moving forward with both building the treehouse and also enjoying these natural places. Hey friends, we're going to have a little diversion today. We're going to actually head into Tamarindo, or as they call it, Tamagringo. It is one of those towns that has been very popular for a very lengthy period of time. And obviously lots of expats and lots of Americans have both moved down there and do go down there to visit. And so we're going to get a sense for what that's all about today. It's probably one of the more developed towns close to the beach here. Tamarindo is one of those places that it's got its charms. You know, there's lots of shopping there, lots of surf shops, lots of restaurants. As I said, a lot of expats have kind of moved in there and made it their locale. You know, it's cool for the nightlife situation. A lot of people like to go there and you know, experience the sea of people around that place, and that's totally fine. The beaches there are more crowded, obviously, so if that's your thing, great, go for it. You know, by all means. I have never been one who loves to share the beach with, you know, 1,000 other people. Not that that's the case down here, but they are much more crowded than the beaches down south than, say, Playa Blanca or Playa Junquial. So, you know, to each his own. We'll get there. We'll get a sense for what it's all about. I'll make sure I post a few things that are a little charming about it. Hey friends, this is Tamarindo Beach. I wanted to give you just a sense for what's going on here. A lot of surfers out here, a lot more crowded. This is a pretty decent little sheltered bay area here. Great place to learn how to surf. Quite a few people are out today in that attempt to do so. They do have quite a few boats that kind of jump into here and treat this as a harbor. But anyway, this is one of the more crowded type beaches here. A lot of people around, a lot of shops, just a lot of kind of fun things to do here. So I just want to give you a sense for what this is all about and give you a little insights. I accept today for what it was. The reality is, Mother Nature wins, and we just work around her schedule. So I'm comforted in knowing that there are such beautiful places like this that I can relax and reset myself, recharge my batteries, and recognize the most important thing in life is to enjoy nature and be grateful for it every single day.